All right, so the Oscars were on Sunday, and I did a little reaction video in my friend's basement. But I actually wanted to talk more about it and really break down the show. Kind of what we expected to happen mostly happened. You know, this was Oppenheimer's year. This was Oppenheimer's show. Barbie did steal the show a little bit, and we will definitely talk about that. But first, let's actually talk about the awards that were given out. Oppenheimer won 7 awards, notably Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, as well as a few technicals. Really great for Oppenheimer. I know, like myself and a lot of people have been predicting Oppenheimer, and we've almost sounded bored of it and tired of it and annoyed by the fact that we kept predicting Oppenheimer, but that's not because myself nor most people think that Oppenheimer is a bad movie. I personally think it is an excellent movie, and it was, in my opinion, the best nominee out of the 10 Best Picture nominees. And I'm really glad that it won, but it's just like, I wish it was a little more competitive, but it's very deserving. And I'm glad that Oppenheimer, in a movie that's as good as Oppenheimer, was able to win. I'm glad that Christopher Nolan got his recognition. Spielberg literally passed the torch to Nolan on Sunday, and that was awesome. You know, that was an awesome moment, and I'm really happy for Nolan. I'm really happy for Oppenheimer.
Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer.
Let's transition to Poor Things, which won 4 Oscars. Most notably, Emma Stone beats out Lily Gladstone as Best Actress. Totally deserved. Wonderful performance. Was I cheering for Gladstone? Yes, I was wholeheartedly cheering for Lily Gladstone. But Emma Stone did deserve it, and it was such a close race. And yeah, I'm really happy for Emma Stone. She gave a wonderful speech, you know, and again, a very deserving winner. However, the moment from Lily Gladstone was really taken away by that. And I do feel bad, because that would have been a wonderful, just historic moment there for Gladstone. And I can't wait to see what she does next with her career. As well, with Poor Things, it beats out Maestro and Makeup. I feel like I was one of the only people who really had Poor Things winning. I think a lot of people saw it as a close race, and to me I was just like, eh. Yes! And then also, Poor Things beat out Barbie in both costumes and production design. Something that I did not see coming when I did my final prediction video. I do wish Barbie got more recognition awards-wise, but this show was really Barbie themed. It opened with Barbie. Barbie was mentioned numerous times in Kimmel's opening monologue. You know, he literally called out the Academy for snubbing Greta Gerwig just to their faces. And then also, I'm Just Ken was awesome. And it was the moment of the night. And we'll talk about that a little later, because we gotta move on, because I wanna just talk about foreign cinema for a second. Because foreign cinema, for a while at the Oscars, has really been a step behind Hollywood. But this year, I think, was the year where foreign cinema has caught up. Anatomy of a Fall beats The Holdovers, Past Lives, May December, and Maestro for original screenplay. Zone of Interest wins international film, but it also beats Oppenheimer in sound. Boy and the Heron beats Spider-Verse for animation. You know, Godzilla -1 beats out The Creator and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in VFX. And finally, 20 Days in Mariupol, that wins Best Documentary. So you have a lot of foreign films getting Oscars this year, and that's awesome. And I expect that to really carry forward in future Oscars, which I will talk about in a different segment of this video. But yeah, that's just, I'm really glad for foreign cinema. And it's just an awesome moment where the world, or I guess America, is starting to recognize it a lot more, and the Academy is moving along with America. And I can't wait to see the foreign films that come out this year. I will be at the Cannes Film Festival, so I will be reviewing a lot of those. And God, I'm so excited. Really. Moving on to American Fiction, it beats out, a lot of big movies. It beats out Oppenheimer, beats out Barbie, beats out Zone of Interest, and beats out, what was the other nominee? Beats out Poor Things for Best Adapted Screenplay. Great for American Fiction. I think at this point, if there is a movie that is nominated for Best Screenplay that features a writer as the main character, you should have that as your favorite. Because Anatomy of a Fall, main character was a writer. American Fiction, it's really all about a writer. And those are the two movies that won the Best Screenplay Awards this year. So, there you go. And even if Anatomy of a Fall didn't win, you could say The Holdovers also stars a writer. Speaking of The Holdovers, Da'Vine Joy Randolph wins Best Supporting Actress here. She's been sweeping everywhere, so very glad that she did not get upset here. It is such a deserving performance, and her speech was amazing. All of her speeches have been amazing, so great for Da'Vine. And then finally, Barbie does take away the Best Song Award with What Was I Made For? Even though that performance was not really that exciting, it is a deserving song to win. I think it's pretty good. I think I'm Just Ken is a better song. But I think it still won the night anyways with that performance. Oh my god, I can't wait to talk about it. Okay, let's talk about the show itself now. So yeah, Jimmy Kimmel. He is such a good host. I just want to get that out of the way. He is just a steady, calm-minded host. Trump hates him, but who cares? Sorry, that was just a really funny moment. And yeah, he just really was, I don't know what the word is, but he really carried the show a little bit. Not to say that other aspects of the show weren't good, but he's just a steady guiding hand. And I think this year really shows that not only do the Oscars need a clear host, but they need a good host. And I think the people that are calling for John Mulaney to be the next host, great. John Mulaney would be an awesome host. I would also love to see Billy Crystal come back and host the Oscars again. It doesn't have to be next year, but just in my lifetime, it would be a dream come true if Billy Crystal could host the Oscars one last time. That would be awesome. And that's kind of my dream Oscar host, even though he did it a million times already. One more time, please. Please, Academy. So yeah, just bravo to Jimmy Kimmel, because he really just did a great job, and he made a lot of good jokes. You can tell he actually watches the movies. He actually cares. He's not Joe Coy, and that's really all you gotta be. You gotta be a decent host. You can't be Joe Coy, and you've gotta actually watch and care about the films being talked about. And Jimmy's best moment wasn't even in any of his jokes. It was the moment when he brought up the members of IATSE and the Teamsters, who are all negotiating with studio execs right now about changing up their union contracts, and he brought them all on stage. And that was so powerful. And I just remember watching that from the couch and getting all giddy and just oh my god. Jimmy really just did that. And it was awesome, and it was beautiful, and just that decision, I don't know if that was his decision, I don't know if that was some other higher up who was sort of running the Oscars, but whoever's decision that was genius, because we can't have another strike. We need Hollywood to just stay steady for a few years, because we're looking so good right now. We were looking so good during Barbenheimer, and now it's March. We just had Dune 2 and Kung Fu Panda 4 do so well. We can't have a third strike. That would be devastating. And also, the show itself was under 3.5 hours. I live on the East Coast, so we were done with the show, and I got to start editing the reaction video by 10:30, which was awesome. Because the next day we had a really busy day in Manhattan. So I did not want to go to bed too late that night. So Oscars starting at 7, I think that was a great call. And also just was short and sweet. It was not too long. I really just enjoyed the show. But with those extra minutes that they did have, since they were under 3.5 hours, they should have shown acting clips. Like, I loved when all the previous winners of supporting actor, actress, lead actress, actor, they all went up there and they all like introduced their friends. But to not have clips, you know, like a big lesson you learn in film school is show, don't tell. Oscars didn't learn that lesson because they did a lot of telling and zero showing for the actors. And that's really a crime against all of those performances. Because really, how many people saw Sandra Hüller's performance in Anatomy of a Fall? How many people saw Jeffrey Wright's in American Fiction? You know, you tell me, because I really don't think it's that many. A funny moment too was when certain speeches would go too long and they would start to play the music over the speeches. Like, that kind of sucks, but it was also just sort of funny and like, oh, like it's so obvious that they need these guys to wrap it up. But when we did have the important speeches, that didn't happen. You know, when 20 Days Won and that director went up there and gave his speech about Ukraine, no music. They let him finish that speech, and that was a powerful moment. And they also let Jonathan Glazer finish his speech about Israel-Palestine, and that was just as powerful. You know, especially because nobody, aside from them, talked about the global conflicts going on right now. So when they did go up there and talk about them, thank God the Academy did not ruin it, and they let those speeches happen, and it really just, all the focus was on them. Also, I think there were a lot of smart choices made by the Academy for this show. You know, notably, Ryan Gosling, they got him to perform I'm Just Ken, and I've been talking about that a little bit, but I just, like, that was incredible to just witness. You know, he has this just amazing stage presence. You know, Ryan Gosling is him. They also structured the show in a really smart way, I think, where they didn't have any Oppenheimer winning awards or really like Strawn Oppenheimer contending awards until about an hour in. You know, leading some people to feel like an upset could be coming because Poor Things was winning a lot of awards. You know, The Holdovers won an award. And all of that happened before RDJ won Supporting Actor, which was the first award won by Oppenheimer as a whole. So just that structure, whether or not it was intentional, I think was really effective because this was not the most interesting Oscars competition-wise, but it was structured in a way to make it as interesting as possible by leading some people to question whether or not Oppenheimer could be upset because of all the Poor Things wins that came before its first win. And to wrap up this segment, let's just talk about some of the bad at the Oscars. There really was not a lot of the bad. I've talked about what I've thought was kind of bad already. You know, really my biggest thing is show clips of the actors, especially since you had extra time. Like, they had 15 minutes of extra time. Aside from that, why did you let Al Pacino go up there? It was funny, but like, why? You know, he was obviously not in the right state of mind, and it was just like a really awkward situation that felt really anticlimactic. And yes, it was funny, and yes, like, it's great that Al Pacino got to present Best Picture because he's Al Pacino, but like, if that is the state he's in, go and get like one of the previous presenters, because like, I think there's supposed to be a bit of suspense, and I think just the way it was like,
and may I see Oppenheimer,
kind of killed the suspense of like, oh, could Poor Things actually upset Oppenheimer because Emma Stone just upset Lily Gladstone? Like, could that momentum carry through? But it was kind of shattered when there wasn't even a naming of the nominees, you know, and I don't know, maybe that sounds really nitpicky, but I'm a nitpicky kind of guy. If you haven't been to this channel before, you know, welcome to that. Now, I want to just close off by looking towards next year and thinking about what can we take from these Oscars and look at, you know, next year. So I think there are two major takeaways that I have. And the first one is that next year there will not be a sweep. You know, and I think that that's already made clear, not only by the fact that we've had 2 straight years of one really dominant movie, but also the fact that we just had Dune 2 come out. And Dune 2 is really strong. It's an excellent film. I love Dune 2. But it's a blockbuster, and it's probably in the middle of a trilogy, but it's so technically sound. It's gonna be a big competitor, at least in a lot of technical categories. And also, we're gonna see a lot more foreign movies next year, I think. You know, like this year, we had a lot of foreign movies take home Oscars. Anatomy of a Fall, adapted screenplay, Zone of Interest sound, Godzilla VFX, Boy and the Heron animated, 20 Days in Mariupol documentary. Like I was saying before, next year I expect it to be stronger. Next year I expect there to be probably the Palme d'Or winner from Cannes to be like a really big contender. You know, like Anatomy would have been a really big contender if Oppenheimer just didn't come out. But next year, I expect whatever won the Palme d'Or, or maybe the second place prize, like Zone of Interest did, or even both of them, to really like be front runners or close to front runners for the Oscar, either one or both. Just because like foreign cinema, you know, it is here. It is kind of like up there now with Hollywood in the eyes of the Academy. I really just can't see a world in the year post-strike when a lot of films are going to be getting delayed where we won't see foreign cinema step in and really take advantage. So yeah, now we are actually going to move over to my computer because I want to end off this video taking a look back at this top 10 Best Picture Contenders video that I made in April of last year. You know, back when I had like 20 subscribers, you know, it was barely known what I was doing on YouTube, but still like making a Best Picture predictions video in April. So what did I get right? What did I get wrong? I just kind of want to see it. I want to react to it, and let's go. Okay, so yeah, here we are. This is a 23-minute video. Oh my God. Well, we'll listen through and see if anything that I was predicting was valid at all, or if I was like totally off. Let's see. Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny. Oh my God. Now this is kind of a long shot here. This is a big
Indiana
long
Jones.
shot.
That's the first one. Yeah, that's a huge
of the
long
year
shot,
if there
dude.
Could be another one. Also, it's being sent to Cannes, which does mean that Disney has some faith in it. If you remember, when Indiana Jones debuted at Cannes, it was like a huge failure. You know, and also a lot of other blockbusters do actually have Cannes debuts. Indiana Jones is not the only one. And I was acting like it was really unique. Like, no, it's not really that unique for having a Cannes debut. But yeah, I think that that's kind of funny. My next honorable mention is Barbie. Oh, okay. That's a good one. It's almost like Babylon,
my God,
where there's some good performances everybody can agree about.
I was
Everybody
thinking that
agrees the
Barbie would be like the
cinematography and the
next
production design and all the
Babylon.
technicals are great, but it just might not be for everybody. That's terrible. I was like, oh, well, maybe Barbie will be like the next Babylon because, like, you know, some people think the trailers look terrible while others think it looks great. And that was how Babylon was. Yeah, that's not how Barbie was, dude. I'm sorry. Finally, we have Napoleon. And if Napoleon is good, I think this shoots into like my top 5. The problem is that I don't know if it's going to be good.
You're
we had
right in
House
not
of
knowing
Gucci,
it's gonna
which
be good.
We
Yeah.
thought was going to be this big Oscar contender. I think no matter how good or bad this movie is, Joaquin Phoenix will be in Best Actor talks. So I was claiming that Joaquin would like 100% be in Best Actor talks. He really wasn't at all. So yeah, that's kind of a bad claim there. But at the end of the day, former me is kind of right in just being like, yeah, if this movie is good, it would be a huge contender. If Napoleon was genuinely like really good, of course it would have been a huge contender. You know, I mean, look at that movie. Like, it has the bones to be a great film. And I think if it's a great Ridley Scott film, that's a great contender. So it's good that I put it as like an honorable mention.
Is Next Goal Wins.
Wow,
Next Goal
okay,
Wins
I have
is
Next
Taika
Goal
Waititi's
Wins as number
next
10.
real movie.
Oh my
You know,
God.
Thor Love and Thunder, that wasn't a real movie.
Oh
you know, we
my
haven't seen a real Taika Waititi movie since Jojo Rabbit.
This isn't
and
a real
I
Taika
loved
Waititi movie,
Jojo
dude.
Rabbit. And even though Love and Thunder left a bit of a bad taste in
Next Goal
everyone's
Wins is kind of
mouths,
bad.
next I have Air.
So I was thinking what myself and a lot of other people were thinking with Air, where Air would be fine in theaters, and the second it got to Amazon, it would be like insane. I mean, I think it did okay when it got to Amazon, but nobody really talked about it. Not like, I kind of thought that Air would have what happened to Saltburn, essentially. And yeah, that didn't really work out. Maybe if Air came out this year, that would happen, just because like now that happened to Saltburn, I think it'll be easier for like a big Prime Video movie to do like really well and get a lot of traction, just because I think you kind of need a first one and then things get a little easier. And yeah, just Air was not really the first one like I thought it would be. That actually was Saltburn, and Saltburn wasn't a big Oscar contender, but I think I do have Saltburn later on here. We'll see.
Not to mention that Viola Davis gives a performance that will probably be nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
I was saying that Viola Davis would probably get nominated. She did not, which, yeah, I mean, kind of makes sense. She would have been a pretty decent nominee. I mean, I think that she would have been better than Jodie Foster or maybe even America Ferrera, but yeah, no nomination.
So at number 8, we have Saltburn.
Yep, there's Saltburn. Oh my God.
At 7, I have May December, which
Oh my
is
God.
directed by Todd Haynes.
Now May
who
December at 7.
Has
I
been
didn't
really
know I had May
successful
December.
at the Oscars
Wow.
so far in his career.
I mean, at least it got nominated for one Oscar. But gosh, of these 10, have I gotten any? Yeah, so far I've been, okay. So far we're 0 for 4.
At 6, we have The Color Purple.
I mean, I think, like, back in April, we really thought Color Purple was going to be, like, the number 1 contender, maybe. Or, like, some people had this a lot higher than I did. You know, I was a little questionable just because acting-wise, this didn't really have as many big names behind it as the previous Color Purple did. But, like, still, you know, just I'm glad I didn't have it in like the top 5 or anything. But just seeing this here is really funny because Color Purple literally got completely snubbed from the Oscars. Or I guess maybe not snubbed, because I don't really think there were any snubs, but it didn't get any nominations.
And Coleman Domingo.
And I also brought up Coleman Domingo in there, and I just think it's kind of funny because, like, he did get an Oscar nomination, just not for The Color Purple.
How Do You Live? The director of How Do You Live, Hayao Miyazaki, has been one of the most influential directors in animation.
Oh my God, okay.
Years and
Number
years
5, I
and years.
put Boy in the Heron, and I thought I was so smart for this. But also it did upset Spider-Verse for Best Animated Film. And I should have trusted what I said in April, where I was like, there's no way Boy in the Heron is not winning Best Animated.
At number 4, we have Past Lives. So Past Lives premiered
that's a good
at
one
Sundance
because of all the
this year,
Sundance
and
buzz.
At number 3, we have Killers of the Flower
So
Moon.
number 3, I have Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, that's a good call, kind of. I don't know how to feel about this one because Killers got so many nominations and then didn't win anything. So I really wanted to cite the Scorsese, De Niro, DiCaprio team up. That obviously did not really sway the Academy whatsoever. I think the 3.5 hours kind of scared the Academy away. But this is an incredible film, and I wish it got a couple of Oscars. And I wish it got that adapted screenplay nomination. I'm still angry about that. And I hold grudges. I'm so mad about Babylon. And at number 2, I have Dune 2. And like, yeah, Dune 2 is going to be a big competitor this year. Oppenheimer. No wonder I was so bored of Oppenheimer at this point, because I've literally been thinking it was the number 1 huge frontrunner for Best Picture since April. Like, how do you not kind of get bored?
Just say it with me now, okay? This is Nolan's time to win Best Picture.
And I was right. I did the whole clapping thing. I was like, this is Nolan's time to win Best Picture. Yeah, it was. And Best Director. And good way to end this this video off. I thought it would be cool to revisit, and I'll try to do this anytime I do an Oscar breakdown where I revisit my first ever predictions just to see where I was. And it's kind of funny to look back, and I hope you all enjoyed that trip down memory lane as well. And I hope if you've stuck through this entire video that you've enjoyed it. You know, I wanted to sort of make a video that was kind of a love letter to this year's Oscars, because I really enjoyed this year's Oscars, like the actual show. And this was my first ever year doing this YouTube thing. Let me know what you thought of this year's Oscars in the comments down below. And while you're down there, feel free to like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.